Out is an amazing in-out board to be able to see what's going on within your organization. You can see whether people are in, you can see whether people are out. It's truly a wonderful communication platform. A number of users use Simple Out in order to be able to run things like payroll or to be able to run reports going back to see what had happened in the past. And for those users, you might occasionally need to make an update to what had already occurred. So maybe somebody forgot to check in or out, and we need to make an emergency entry, or maybe somebody erroneously checked in or out, and we need to make an update on that front as well. And so for that, Simple Out does have the ability to edit past statuses, and that's what we're going to look at today in this video. Now, do note right off the top, though, that in order for you to be able to update past statuses, you'll need to have certain permissions. Now, we have an entire video on roles and permissions and how they all work. Just know that you'll need to have permission in order to be able to update your own past statuses. And there's another permission for whether you can update the past status updates of other users. So today I'm logged in as Sarah Smith in a company called Arlington Financial. And today I have permission to be able to update both mine as well as other people. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this might work. So let's go ahead and pick on Kevin Johnson. So we're going to pick on Kevin today, and we're going to be able to make updates, but you can click on any user on the board. And when you click on that user, it'll come up with their profile information here, but you can change tabs, of course. In this case, I'm going to fly over to the past statuses tab. And because I have permission, I can click the edit past statuses link right here. And this will pull up our past status editor. This allows us to do things like change which day we want to see. So for example, we can change over to a different date. We can add new statuses trivially. All we have to do is come down to this bottom section here where we can toggle between in and out. And maybe we're going to add ourselves an out status today. And we're going to do that for a certain period of time. And we can add our own comment. Maybe we want to change this in status. That'd be a good thing to try. So let's say we want to replace this in status. It's at 1:29 p.m. But let's say, for example, we want it to be at exactly 1 p.m. Maybe Kevin didn't update his time when he should have. We could go ahead and hit delete to delete this status at 1:29, and it goes away. And now we'll add a new in status, except we'll do this one at 1 o'clock on the button. And we'll say when I was actually in. We hit plus, and there we go. So that's how easy it is to replace a past status for Kevin. Now, if we go ahead and we click out of here, and then I'm going to click the reload here to force a reload, we'll see this is Kevin's current status now. But the point I want to bring you to here is that just like editing somebody's current status, editing a past status will leave behind the information of the user that did it. So in this case, Kevin will always know that Sarah Smith was the one that updated Kevin's status. Now, we can update past statuses right here on the board, but maybe the most powerful place to do it is actually from within many of the reports that we have in Simple Out. So I'm going to go ahead and click reports up here in the upper right. And so most of these reports, for example, the time card, the timelines, the activity reports, they all allow inline editing. Basically just a way you could click in order to get access to that edit past statuses panel. So let's go ahead and just run a time card report here. Now, if we look at this time card report, maybe we're running this report because we're doing payroll and we want to calculate the total amount of in time for our users. Now, if we scan down this list here, we're going to notice very quickly something is wrong with Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson's been in for 54 hours and 58 minutes this week. That's probably not accurate. So if we look at our days, here's 8 hours and 4 minutes, 7:56. But here seem like two dates that are very, very out of whack. We have one day where he was in for 15 hours and the next day where he was also in for 15 hours. Something's probably wrong there. And if we just go ahead and we click on one of these, we'll be in that edit past status for that particular day. And of course, again, we can use the date picker here to change dates. Now, I'm going to close this because what I'd like to do is highlight my favorite way to edit past statuses. That is using the weekly timeline report. So I'm going to go ahead and switch reports over to the weekly timeline report. Now, the reason why I really prefer the weekly timeline report is it gives you a visual representation of exactly how Simple Out sees our ins and outs and how it calculates total time. So in this case, we can only run the weekly timeline report for one individual user at a time. So in this case, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to switch over to Kevin Johnson. And then I'm just going to hit run report. Now, when we do this, we get the same, I ran the report for the same week we just ran the time card report for. But here it becomes very evident what went wrong. So Kevin Johnson checked in here at 1 p.m. and then never checked out. Kevin forgot to check out. So Simple and Out thought that Kevin must have worked overnight. Kevin must have worked all night long, must have worked all the way here. And then we see another in where Kevin Johnson checked in again the next day at 8 a.m., probably showing up for work. But we can see why the 15 hours exists in both of these days, because Simple and Out never got the out update on Wednesday, thanks to users been in all the time. So let's go ahead and let's fix this up. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on this timeline. And by doing that, we immediately go to that day in the calendar where we could go ahead and we could fix this up. So what we need to do is add an out event. So I'm going to flip this over to out. And then let's see, we're going to assume that Kevin probably left at 5. So we're just going to set this for 5 p.m. and say fixed payroll, we'll call this. And now we'll click out. All right, so that's as easy as it is. So now if I go ahead and I close this panel, and I'm just going to come back up here and click Run Report one more time. And there you can see we have the 5 p.m. fixed payroll time, and now everything looks right. So that's how you can reach back into the past and edit statuses in Simple and Out.